Welcome back again. In this class, we will be learning what are clients, server, and then a client-server architecture or a client-server network. Now we shall see what are clients and then a server. So a client, it is a computer or a computer-like devices consisting of hardware or a software, or it can be a boot which will access different data or resources from a server computer. And then a server, it is a computer which will provide those requested data to the client system. So basically a client will request for a resource from the server, and in turn this server will respond to this request from the client. So for this, let's take an example like Facebook. Facebook can be assumed as a server and then with the user as a client. So when we request for any data from the Facebook, which behave as a server, like accessing your profile, viewing an image and a video file, etc. Those requests, it can be processed by the server and then provide you those requested data by the Facebook or from the server. Now we will see what is a client-server network. So a client-server network, they are basically found in web applications. So out here in a client-server network, there is a central server which will store all this information and then provide those information to the client system when requested. And then a client will access or request for those data from the server. So in our example out here, we have only one server and then a 3 client. But in a real life scenario, there can be a millions of server and then a millions of client system. So in a client server network, a server can process and requested information from a client for they can process millions of or thousands of requested files at the same time from the client. And then a client can also request to a multiple number of server at the same time, which means that, for example, you the client, you can open your web browser and then access two different websites at the same time. That means you are accessing two different servers for different resources or for different data. And at the same time, a server can also accept multiple requests from a multiple number of a client system at the same time and a client-server architecture. Now we will see what are the characteristics of a client-server network. So in a client-server network, different hardwares and software resources are used by both the client and the server. So basically a server need to be a high-end computer devices so that it will process those informations more reliable and then more quickly. And then hardware and software from different vendors. So it does not mean that both the client and then server should have the same hardware and then same software to access or to retrieve and then process those data or resources from a server. Like someone can access a server from a mobile device, someone can access from different computer devices or using a different web browser. And then the another one is work with transport layer protocol and a client this client server architecture for every request and then for transmission of different data within the network to work in a transport layer protocol. And then it provides multiple services. So in a client server architecture, multiple different types of services can be accessed in this type of network. And then the last one is scalability and on client and server, which means that at a given point of time, any number of client can be connected to a particular server, or a server computer can be reconfigured to handle more number of clients at the same time. Now we will see the different types of client server network. So In a client-server network, there are two different types. The first one is a two-tier client-server architecture, and then another one is a three-tier client-server architecture. So firstly, two-tier client-server architecture. Any client two-tier client-server architecture, this type of network or this type of architecture are mostly used in a small network where there are a limited or a less number of client system. So out here, the same process, the server will process those data which are requested by the client system. So the advantage of a two-tier client-server architecture is that it is easy to maintain, and then the communication between the client and then server is fast. That means the retrieval and then the requesting of different data is fast. And then disadvantage of a client's two-tier is that it is have a limited client, which means that it cannot handle a more number of clients at the same time. If the number of client increases, which the server cannot handle it, the quality or the reliability of the server gets degraded. Now we shall see the three-tier client-server architecture. So three-tier client-server architecture uses a middleware to interface between the client module and then server module like the database and all. So this three-tier client server, they are actually developed to overcome those problems which are prevalent in two-tier. So the advantage of a three-tier is that it have a better services, and then it have a faster performance, and then scale according to the requirements. That means the number of clients, how much it can be connected, and so on. And then this three-tier, it have an improved security over two-tier client-server architecture. But the disadvantage of a three-tier is that it is complex, which means that like as number of a client system increases, the structure or the architecture of that network becomes more complex to manage. So that's all. See you in the next class. Thank you. Thank you.